All right, so I'm so excited for this episode today. This is part two, so make sure if you haven't, go listen to the episode right before this. So I was in the middle of a health coaching call with Sharon. And in the first episode, we sort of talked about movement and goals, and we started to get into this mindset work and how that was playing out in eating around her family, like when they're eating things that she doesn't want to be. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that today. So as you're listening to this episode, I want you to think about what can you take away for yourself? Like, what can you learn from this? What do you see in yourself? Or sometimes we see it in a different way. But how can you use some of these thoughts, some of these tools for yourself? And remember that if you're feeling stuck in your health journey, you're not progressing how you want to, I encourage you to set up a free health coaching call with me. We're just going to talk through your goals, where you're at, and sort of figure out what are those missing pieces for you. How can we keep you moving forward in a sustainable and consistent way? So without dieting, just making these small habit changes, making these shifts in our mindset. Mindset is so huge for so many things in our life. Typically, where we're feeling resistance and we're not making changes that we want to or sticking to things, a lot of it goes back to our mindset. So, really taking the time to dig deeper into this work. So, if that's you, I encourage you to set up that free call with me. I also have a course, the self coaching system. And this is great for you to go through some of these pieces on your own to learn how to implement these tools that I'm giving Sharon a hint at. And you can really dive deeper and learn how to self coach yourself, learn how to use some of these tools for yourself. So, in the description, you're going to find both resources for those. And if you're not sure where to start, set up that free call and I can help you figure out that starting place for you. Hi, friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michele, mama 4 and military wife, and I'm passionate about helping women get healthy from the inside out so they can feel better and live their best life. Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight and get in shape? If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably, then you're in the right place. I combine my expertise from my doctorate in physical therapy to my experience as a health coach, personal trainer, and yoga teacher to bring you actionable steps for a healthy lifestyle. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. And I'm going to ask a follow-up question to go with that to see if there's anything else there, because I think this comes up with a lot of people is these people around you are eating something that maybe you like, enjoy, or taste good, but you know it's not good for you. And then you want to not eat it. So, what does it mean for you to be around people who are eating food that's potentially good, but you know it's not good for you and you not eating it? What does
It's a
that
little
mean?
uncomfortable. It's a
Yeah.
little uncomfortable,
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a lot of uncomfortable. Yeah.
especially it's after church. There's coffee hour, and somebody's brought something sweet to have with the coffee, and it's like feel like you're disappointing them if you don't try it, or sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that rolls into disappointing or saying no to someone. That is something that comes up commonly too. And we'll sort of go back to that uncomfortable feeling because it is uncomfortable to not eat something everyone else is, but it doesn't have to stay that way. So, one thing to notice is just like, okay, this feels a little uncomfortable, and know that that's okay. You can tolerate feeling uncomfortable, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. And the situation of like, we'll just keep going with the garlic bread. Everyone eating garlic bread except you. Is that a safe situation?
yeah. No one's gonna beat me up for not eating it.
Yeah, yeah. And so sometimes our brain doesn't think that, but we don't realize it. So we just want to like, so sometimes just saying to ourselves, like, okay, I'm safe. I can handle this uncomfortable sensation. And really, any feeling is just a sensation in our body. So maybe that uncomfortable feeling's like in your stomach, maybe it's in your chest, wherever it is, it's just like this feeling in your body and it's going to pass, right? Have you ever felt uncomfortable and it not went away?
No,
Yeah. So feelings come and go, they come in waves. They're not going to stay. But when we have them, when we're feeling really uncomfortable, or maybe we're feeling really anxious about something, it almost feels unbearable sometimes. Like, I don't want this anymore. It feels like it's not going to go away. But it's just like a wave. It's that feeling that you're feeling in your body is going to pass. You can ask yourself, am I safe? Like, okay, I am safe. This is going to pass. I'm going to be okay. And I can handle this.
Yeah. And it'll get stronger and stronger as they practice it more, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, just like with anything. So the more you practice feeling like not eating whatever that is at the table that you don't need and feeling uncomfortable and being like, okay, like I feel uncomfortable. It's going to be okay. This is going to pass. I don't have to fight it. And the more you do that, that length of time that you're feeling uncomfortable is going to get shorter and shorter. And it is going to get easier and easier, just like with anything in life. The more we do it, because you're building that neural network in your brain that, oh, I can say no, I can tolerate feeling uncomfortable. So you're getting that network going, and it does get easier and easier.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let me just sort of review what we went over today. So we talked about doing the movement and getting outside and walking up and down the driveway and sort of writing that down in your planner and planning it out for the week. And then we just sort of talked right now about feeling that uncomfortable feeling of people around you eating and you not doing it. So allowing yourself to feel it and not fight it and not give into it, just going to feel uncomfortable. And then it's going to get easier and easier to be able to do that. And then we sort of talked about that new thought of what you want to think when other people around you are eating and sort of training your brain to think that.
Okay.
Perfect. So, any questions about those or anything sort of feel a little sticky or challenging?
Well, it's just getting over the first few times doing it, probably. It's hard to start doing something, but I think it's doable.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned how you were sort of starting the food journal. So, this can also be something really good to write in your journal. So, like, that feeling uncomfortable. Like, okay, I did that today once or twice. Like, sort of marking that in your journal, like, okay, I wasn't hungry and I didn't eat. I could tolerate that uncomfortable feeling. So that could be something that you track too, where you're sort of like, I ate with intention and like I wanted to. I didn't sort of give into that craving. And the same example with feeling those uncomfortable feelings. So I know we didn't talk about sugar cravings, but I know you did mention those. So it's the same thing if you're having a sugar craving. Is like, so go ahead and tell me an example of something in the past week where maybe you saw it and it was a sugar craving.
Well, maybe it's not quite past week, but it was Easter. Everybody got an Easter basket, and you know, and I could say to myself, well, maybe I'll just eat the chocolate Easter bunny, but everything else can go away. But I didn't. I had a lot of candy over the Easter week.
So you can even picture it in your mind. So imagine sort of seeing that Easter basket with Easter bunny and all the other candy in it. And what do you think was that like emotion that you were feeling when you were eating it?
And it tasted good, and it felt satisfying.
And do you think in those times you were feeling stressed or anxious or sad or anything like that?
Well, like when I came home after work and it was a long day, and yeah, I guess I was a little stressed and kind of de-stressing then.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes it can sort of just be like a habit or like a urge or desire. Like you're just so used to like, I eat it or I have this like desire and I just grab it without even thinking. But also, you sort of brought up stress there. So that is a common time to reach for like carbs or sugar when we're stressed and our cortisol's up, but it's not good for our body. But noticing that stress can be a trigger for you. So, like if you get from home from work and maybe you're feeling a little stressed, what do you think you actually need?
I could just have my cup of tea again and maybe talk with my husband about the day.
Yeah, perfect. And it's so often because when we grab sugar or any like quick carb, it does give us a spike of dopamine. So it does make us temporarily feel good, even though sometimes that good feeling doesn't last. So
Right.
what you said there is maybe a cup of tea or to talk with my husband, or some people like going out for, a walk can help to relieve stress. So again, it's going back to training our brain. We have to train our brain like this is actually what's good for me. The easy thing is to grab the candy and get a dopamine hit. I mean, we're obviously not thinking that when we're grabbing it, but that's what's happening in our body. It's that quick thing, but it's like we have to put in that thought like, no, after work or whenever I feel I'm stressed, I'm gonna grab a cup of tea or talk to my husband or go for that walk, do something that's actually going to help your body on the inside reduce stress. Because a cup of tea, decaf unsweetened tea, that can be good and calming to you. Talking with someone about those stressors can be good for you. Going for a walk, like inside, there's all these chemical reactions that are actually going to help lower that stress more than if you were to have that sugary thing. It's not really going to lower that stress inside your body.
Right.
Okay. And so does that sound like a good plan when you're sort of feeling that stress to grab to do the tea or to talk with your husband?
Take walks. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that might be something to sort of write down in that journal too, that I'm gonna do. And then you could like check in on it each day, like, was I doing that? And you can
That sounds
even,
good.
yeah, if you're doing a paper journal, an idea might be to on like one page, write some of these habits that you want, like walk on my driveway. If I'm stressed, I'm gonna, do the tea or talk or go for a walk. I might feel I'm gonna say no to something and tolerate an uncomfortable feeling. So you could write that down and then just have a little like check box on each day or for the whole week and just sort of, check it off or you don't check it off. And with all these, we don't have to be 100% perfect. So if we're having a hard time, it's okay. Figure out what's going on and how you can get that yes or, get that check mark more of the time than not. But so often it's easy to like give up on ourselves when things are going hard or we're not doing those things we want to. And then we sort of just fall off. But we just have to keep like showing up each day and just doing the best we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to that Easter candy a little bit. So we might have had where the Easter candy was from like a stress response. But the same thing with that Easter candy is if you were to, if you see that Easter candy in front of you and you're like, I'm not going to eat it, how would that feel?
Well, part of me would feel like I'm depriving myself. Part of me would say you're you're meeting your goals by not eating it and you'll be healthier.
Yeah. So maybe feeling a little deprivation, like you're depriving yourself. And would that also feel uncomfortable to see it and not eat it?
Yeah, I mean it's tradition. Traditions are hard to break too. Maybe
Yeah.
ahead of time I could ask, I don't really want a lot of candy at Easter time, so just put some eggs and maybe chocolate bunny in my basket, not a ton of candy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so think about that for any holiday going forward. So that's putting you in an empowering position, asking for what you need and your wants. So I think that's good because there's so many like different holidays or different traditions that families can have. And if you can stand in that position to ask for what you need in the first place. And noticing that again, that might be a situation that uncomfortable feeling comes up if I'm not going to eat it, but that you can handle it. And also, so thinking of having candy there and not eating it, do you think it's 100% true that you're actually depriving yourself if you don't eat candy?
I don't think I'm depriving myself. It feels a little weird not to do things you've traditionally done and everybody else around you is traditionally doing.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to make new traditions is something to do going forward too.
Yeah, I love that. And your brain's already moving into problem solving. So that's great. Yeah, it can be a little weird. It can be a little uncomfortable, but you can do it. And so that thought of like depriving, I feel like I'm depriving myself. So if we say that thought or that thought's going through like the back of our mind, we're actually saying, I am depriving myself. So that's why it helps to call out some of those thoughts. Well, that's like not actually true. Like just because I'm not having candy doesn't mean I'm depriving myself. And I heard this from someone else. She said, so if we eat something that like we don't need, it's either trash in our body or trash in the trash can. So, like that candy, you didn't really need it. So it could have been thrown away or, you could give it to someone else. But if you take it in, it's really just trash in your body too. So I sort of love that visualization and that thought to help think about things sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. We got through a lot today. How do you feel about that?
I feel good that I've talked to somebody and can start setting down a plan,
Yeah.
writing it down on my journal, finally move forward and get past these hiccups that keep bringing me back down. I'll lose 10 pounds, then I'll put it back on. I'll lose 5 pounds, and I'll put it back on. And I don't want to keep doing that. I want to become healthy and live a longer, healthier life with my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. Perfect. And we were able to talk through a good chunk today and sort of gave you some different tools to use. And so, long term, what do you think that you need to do to be able to maintain this and not just have success here for a few weeks and sort of revert back? Like, what do you think you need to do differently this time?
Well, I like what you said about writing down these new thoughts to use when I get in those situations, but more even just every morning, reminding myself, writing it down and looking at it, maybe reading it out loud or
Mhm.
and saying those goals or that new thoughts to myself so that when I get into that situation, it's easier to say, I'm sticking to my goals, I'm being healthy, and maybe eating this candy is trash for my body and I can just put it in the trash can or give it to somebody else. But I'd rather put it in the trash can because it's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's huge. And so, a lot of mindset pieces here today. So, and I think that's what a lot of people find missing too is sort of getting our mindset on board with what we want to do. And this sort of goes for any area of our life because our brain has so many thoughts that aren't helpful, or it's easy to sort of get stuck in the all or nothing and feel shame and guilt about what we're doing and feel like we don't know what to do. So when we focus on our mindset and the thoughts going in our mind and expanding our capacity to like feel uncomfortable or feel anxious feelings or sadness or other things that come up in life, if we can expand our capacity to feel those and not increase our stress or relieve some of those feelings with food, then we can sort of start to move forward in a more long-term manner. Because this health journey, it's not just 1, 2, 3 months. This health journey is for the rest of your life.
Right. And it's like, well, it's harder in some ways than quitting smoking because smoking, you just cut it out and you don't do it again. But eating, you have to keep doing over and over and over, a few times a day to stay, at least stay fit and without overindulging.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not something you can just go without. And it's hard because you're going countercultural. So even like most of our meals, like if we're truly eating healthy, it's countercultural. It's against what our culture is eating. Like the breakfast foods in our culture is cereals, bagels, it's like this high carbohydrate processed breakfast. So if we're trying to eat something healthy like a smoothie or a protein shake or eggs with some avocado, that's really going against the culture. And it takes some extra little umph to do that, but it does get easier because once you have like 2 or 3 breakfasts, for example, that are healthy and good, they just get easier. So the more you do any of these things, the easier it does get that you can stick with. And that's why I always like to take things in small changes, like that example of the breakfast. If we just focus on that and we get 2 or 3 healthy breakfasts that are easy, then it just becomes a habit and I don't have to think about it versus trying to overhaul everything I'm eating. That's just going to overwhelm us. We're going to fail and then we're going to feel stuck and we're just going to revert back to our old ways.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, perfect. Any other questions for me before we hop off here?
No, I don't think so. I'm glad that we had this call, and I'm sure it's going to help. And I'm going to write down my walking and my new thoughts.
Yeah, perfect. And for anyone listening, if you guys would like to have a free health coaching call with me too, that would be aired on the podcast. I'm going to put a link down in the description. And Sharon, just thank you so much for sharing and being open and vulnerable. I know that can be hard, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you too. Really appreciate your talking with me.
Absolutely. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed hearing what a coaching call is like and listening to Sharon. I hope that you guys were able to have some takeaways for yourself. And remember, as always, when there's something that you want to start small. Don't try to start with so many things at once. Really find your starting place. Build up consistency, build up those pathways in your brain so that it becomes easy, and then add more things on. So, one step at a time. Remember, your health is really one of the most important things in your life, and you're the only one to prioritize that. So keep taking care of yourself. Keep caring of your health. That includes your physical health, your mental health. All of it is so important so you can live life to the fullest and pour that out to the others around you. And remember, if you're feeling stuck, set up that free coaching call with me. Get some input just like Sharon did so you can start figuring out those missing pieces and how to move forward consistently. There's going to be links in the description down below. All right, friends, hope you guys have a wonderful week.